Are we finally in frame? Or is it cutting the top of my head off again? What about now? 50th time is the charm. Okay, this is the angle we're using. That's it. Hey, what's up? Hello, it's Katie Colson here. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're here to discuss all of the 26 books, good lord, and the 3 that I'm currently reading in the month of May. The first thing I read was an audiobook, and it was Rick, which I work with a guy that we call Rick, and it was just so weird. It was so weird how many books I read this month that were named after people I work with. It kind of freaked me out a little bit. But this is a middle grade, like a very young middle grade. Like this kid is just going into 6th grade, I believe. He acted super, super young, but he's just going into this new school, and his friend is a raging piece of shit. I mean, I hated him so much. Anyway, his friend was all like, oh my God, like, isn't that girl so sexy? Like, don't you just want to like go over there and like smack her ass or something? And Rick is like, yeah, because he doesn't feel that way, but he doesn't know that that's different. Like, he just thinks that like he doesn't feel the same way as his friend. He doesn't realize that he doesn't feel the same way as like a lot of other students until he goes to this new school, and there is a program, like this pride program, and there's a bunch of people from like different sexual identities, different gender identities. There is like transgender, bisexual, gay, like aromantic, asexual characters, and him meeting these people and like his world widening to all these different things, and also widening to the fact that he himself might be asexual. So that, I think that it's so amazing that this book exists. The cover is so cute. I love this book exists. I think that people that are in this age demographic should read this book. Do I think it's a well-written book? No. Is it exciting? No. Did I literally hate the best friend literally so much? I was like, I would punch a child in the face. Yeah. But I love the message. I love what Gino was going for. You know, he was doing the dang thing, but listen, middle grade isn't my thing. Let's just move on. I'll be brief about this one because I ended up DNFing it at like 78%, but that's only a monster. And I'm not saying this book is bad, but it's bad for me. Okay? The concept sounded like so good, so cool. But this is like YA in the kind of YA that I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, do you have any brain cells? Like, even, can you just show me one brain cell? I'm confused. The main problem I have with this book is that it didn't make any damn sense. Like, I'm not gonna tell you what the whole thing is about, but apparently, like, the monsters are just time travelers. I'm like, why are they called monsters? Like, what they do is they touch the back of somebody's neck and they can, like, take time from them. I don't really understand, like, why monster was the label. Like, time travelers made a lot more sense. But then also the time traveling it literally was completely illogical. Like, they would take 1 year from somebody and then like travel back to like the 70s. But then act like they had to steal a bunch of time to go back like 2 years. I was like, this doesn't make any goddamn sense. That don't make any goddamn sense. And then also when I was reading it, I realized, I stopped and I was like, I don't care how this book ends. I don't care. Nothing could happen in this book that's gonna make me like excited or get any payoff. And it's a series, so you know there's gonna be a cliffhanger. I didn't like it, and I gave it 2 stars. A book that I have been meaning to read for quite a while, and I feel like a lot of people on BookTube really love, is The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. Now, this is a case of I waited too long to read it. Like, one, the hype is insane, but also I waited too late to read it. I should have read this years ago when I was more interested in YA, because this would have blown my mind a long time ago. Now, I gave it 3.5 stars. I think it's really good. Like, it is really good, and damn, Mindy McGinnis was like doing the damn thing, especially for YA. Like, she was getting gritty. She was getting real deep. I was like, oh my God, this all has a tint to it. Like, everything I'm envisioning, it's like a Netflix movie. Like, it's just all the lights are off, you know? So I liked it. Everybody already knows what this book is about, I'm sure. It's a YA thriller. It's about like this girl who, I'm like struggling to remember, honestly. But it's this girl trying to like solve this crime, and she's really obsessed with like true crime and like all this stuff, and something like really bad happened to her sister, and it like really traumatized her, and now she's trying to like figure out how to come to terms with that and like come to terms with like her PTSD. And it went places I didn't think it would go. And I liked it. but it was still a little bit too YA for me. Like it wasn't the kind of YA that I hate, so I enjoyed it for that, but it wasn't giving what I wanted at this point in my life. Does that make sense? I'm missing something. I am missing a big something, because Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. I did not like this book. I did not like this book. And the only reason I'm giving it 2 stars instead of 1 star is because I genuinely liked the main character, but everything else about this book was like, skeeved me out, hated it, hated the way people treated her, like just didn't like it. She's kind of similar to like Molly the Maid, but then in that book, I liked that book, even though people didn't treat her super well. But in this book, I was like, no. Okay, we're following this woman. She has worked like from the time she was like, I think 16, 18, something like that. She's worked at this convenience store and she has neurodivergence. Now they don't say what it is, but it's like Molly the Maid where she's very neurodivergent. And this store is the only place that she has a normalcy. The only place that she like understands like the routine of everything and can kind of understand like people's emotional like aptitude basically. So she's working there, but her parents want her to go and get married, find a real career. And they think the convenience store is like no point to life to work there. You know what I'm saying? This guy starts working at the store and he is a true bred incel. He is an incel. He is fucking vile, disgusting. The things that he has the audacity to say to this character, I'm gonna throw up in my mouth. Like, it's so disgusting. And the fact that like it continues, like I'm not gonna give away the rest of the book, but like it doesn't get shut down swiftly. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like it. And apparently I was missing something. There's so many people that this is like their favorite book. I just don't get it. I didn't like it and I gave it 2 stars. For our first 5-star read of the month of May, it's My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. I love this cover so much. I love this cover so much. It's stunning. It's facing out on my bookshelf right over there. And it is like between the romance books. And I'm like, I know this isn't a romance, but it just looks good there. But I feel like somebody's gonna see that. Actually, now that I'm saying that, somebody's gonna see this next to the romance books and think like I'm an actual sicko. Yeah, I'll be moving it after this video. Anyway, this is My Dark Vanessa. I got like 30% into the audiobook and bought the book physically because I knew it was going on my shelf. This is stunning writing. Like the writing in this is just so immaculate. This reads like a true story. Like dead ass, I was reading this like this has to be a memoir. And apparently Kate Elizabeth Russell has gotten a lot of flack for that people are basically saying that she has to have stolen this story because like it has to be a real story. And she's like, no, I didn't. Like I know this happens to women, but I didn't steal this story, which I think is very interesting and is a real testament to like her writing. Now, I mean, obviously I don't know her, like maybe Kate stole the story. I don't know, but there's no proof to that. So anyway, this is about a girl, she's 14. I believe she's 14 and he's 32. Or no, sorry, he's 42 and she's 15. Okay, so we have our character Vanessa, she's 15, and she begins a relationship / grooming with her 42-year-old English teacher. And it follows her until she is like 32. Yeah, follows her until she's 32. So you're getting a bunch of chapters. They're all from her point of view. And this book is like, if you read Lolita, but from her point of view, that's what this book is like. It is very Lolita vibes, especially with the beautiful writing and like how emotionally like fraught it is and confusing. And like the character just feels so real. And the amazing way that Kate wrote this book where when you're reading her being 15 and then when you're reading her being like in her 20s and then her being in her 30s, how different she is and like more mentally developed. And the things that like maybe she hears the same sentence at each of those points in her life, but she internalizes them logically differently each time and is more aware of like gaslighting and thank you. This is my air conditioner, yeah. But it's hot. I live in Georgia, you know what I'm saying? But this book is absolutely fucking stunning. It's blurbed by Gillian Flynn. On the inside, it's blurbed by Stephen King. Like, it's so damn good. And there is such a beautiful quote, like my favorite quote from this book. Actually, I think I have it in my reading journal. Let me just do a little flippy-do. Okay. It says, I can't lose the thing I've held on to for so long, you know? I just really need it to be a love story, you know? I really, really need it to be that. Because if it isn't a love story, then what is it? It's my life. This has been my whole life. And I just thought that was so stunning. And like the whole perspective of trauma and how you need to view it through a different lens so that you don't have to view yourself as a victim. I just was like, Wow, that was gut punching. Okay, I gave this 5 stars. This is absolutely stunning. Let me go turn my air conditioner off because it is so loud. Okay, back to business. After that Audible series sale that they had a couple weeks ago, I bought like 11 books, and I am planning on something special coming up like in July. If you know what series I'm talking about. I'm planning something, hello. Anyway, I bought quite a few other things, and they were very just like spur of the moment. Like I just recognized the title and was like, buy. And almost all of them are in this video. So the first thing I read was Vicious and Ruckus by LJ Shin. Now I'd only bought from the Audible sale Vicious, but then after I finished it, I literally immediately went and bought for like full price Ruckus because they're Audible exclusives, which is so annoying. But listen, I didn't have a bad time. I did not have a bad time. I have a reading vlog for these books as well as my Dark Vanessa. These are erotic romances, okay? But this is what I'll say about erotic romance. They're all toxic, but there's 2 kinds of toxicity, okay? There's the toxicity of, I'm gonna call the police on sight. I see this man calling the police on sight. And then there's the second kind that you see the man and you're like, okay, come inside. I'll call the police after we're done. Do you know what I'm saying? And these are the second kind, okay? Like technically they're so toxic. Vicious and Ruckus. Vicious is way more toxic than Ruckus, but like they are toxic, but like not that bad. Like not that bad. Like literally for KU, this is like tame as shit, I'm sure. But this is about these rich guys who Vicious falls in love with his maid's daughter, but then calls her the help and is like, well, you're just the help. Like, you mean nothing to me, but you can't be with anybody else because you're mine. And it's her like, no. But then he keeps like manipulating her with money to like stay with him. It was fun. It was fun. It's a fun time. Okay, and then Ruckus is one of his friends, okay, gets together with the original girls. Was it Amelia? Am I making that up? Right? I think it's Amelia. Anyway, gets together with her sister, and I loved it because her sister has cystic fibrosis, and there's a lot of like representation. There's a lot of really good representation for cystic fibrosis. Like LJ Shin gets like kind of, I don't want to say gross, that sounds terrible, but like she gets into the nitty gritty with it, like medically. Like a lot of stuff. Like she doesn't let you forget, and you shouldn't because the character can't forget. But the only thing about this book where I was like, that's the kind of toxicity that I would literally punch a grown man in the dick for, is that he keeps telling her that she's not sick, she's totally fine. Like, you're fine, what are you talking about? Your lungs work fine. But it's because he's in denial, because he doesn't want to admit that there's something wrong with her, because he doesn't want to lose her. But the way he goes about it is like, not cute. But anyway, I had a great time reading these books. I gave them both 3.5 stars. And I want to read the 4th book. I do want to read the 4th book. I think it's like called Scandalous. But I don't know if I want to like use an Audible credit for it, but like also I kind of do. I don't know. I enjoyed them. On a less satisfactory note, I read Cursed Bunny. Now I'm going to have a live show about this on my Patreon. So if you want to get my thoughts, you can go over there. But I gave this 2 stars. It's a short story collection. And when I tell you the first short story in here called The Head, I have literal goosebumps. It's so vile. It is disgusting. Like, Bora-chan, what possessed you to fucking write that? It's so grotesque. Okay, I'm gonna move on because I can't even look at this book anymore. Woman Eating by Claire Coda. I love this cover, it's absolutely stunning, and it's quite a thin book. I read this one physically, and the chapters are literally like 70 pages long. And like, for what? For why? This has a really great concept, okay? So this is about a vampire, Lydia. She's half vampire, half human, okay? And she's been surviving with her mother, who is a vampire, and her mother has been sourcing pig's blood for them because according to her, she's like, you can't drink human blood because that's like against God and you're already a demon. So like we can't go even more against God. So we have to drink pig's blood, and that's even bad. But then her mom becomes like senile. She goes crazy basically. So now the daughter's on her own and she's in New York City and she's like living in this like tiny little sublet apartment, and she's trying to find pig's blood. And as you and I would assume, it's not that easy to source pig's blood. Don't know what her mom was doing. but it ain't easy. So now she's like starving, and she's like looking at people in this art camp or whatever, like, damn, that guy looks juicy. Okay, everything I'm saying makes this book sound so good, but here's the thing. You have to go into this wanting women's lit fic, is what I would say. This is a very well-written work of literature. This is not a thriller. This is not a paranormal, really anything. Like, the vampire thing, the hunger that she has, it's just a metaphor. Like, it's just a metaphor. Like, it's not really about being a vampire. It's not really about the blood. It's not about that. It's just a metaphor. And like, while it is well written, I found it incredibly boring. I was like, when is something, she needs to kill somebody. Like, I want to see this girl kill a man. Anyway, I gave it 2 stars. And then I actually read this book twice. This is by Kane Manato. So this is Confessions, and I'm actually reading this for Kayla's Literally Dead book club. And I believe, is it the day that this wrap-up is coming out? Is the day I'm doing the live? Quite possibly, not totally sure. But I read this twice. I read it physically, and then I listened to the audio, and I loved it both times. 5 stars. Now, there are things that are wrong with this book. Like, there's some things. Like, I want to give it 4.5 stars, but then I also kind of want to give it 5 stars because, like, the audacity of this book. It's a Japanese horror. It's translated. It is fucking wild. They are wild over there, y'all. Like, the first chapter, which, again, there's only like 3 chapters in this book, and for what? It's like the loudest school bus of all time outside. Oh my God. Damn, how many kids you got in there? Anyway, this is about a teacher who, her daughter has recently passed away. And at the end of the school year, she sits all her students down and she's like, hey, I just want to like sit y'all all down so we can like tell a story. And it's that I know 1 or 2 of you killed my daughter and I'm going to call you out. And it's like, it's crazy. It's so crazy. Like, it's this woman basically going on like a vendetta to ruin these students' lives and like not kill them, but ruin their lives. And it's wild. She's so smart. It's amazing. Now, I will say there is some more than questionable AIDS content in this book. And when I say questionable, I mean like downright false. But, you know, I see, oh my God, this was an Oscar shortlisted foreign film. Okay, I know what I'm doing tonight. The fuck? It's so good. It's so good. You will be gasping. There's moments you will be gasping in this book. Like, what the fuck? Like, I loved it. I tabbed it, annotated. I can't wait to talk about this. I think tomorrow, I should have my shit together and know that, but I loved it and it's highly worth your time. And then we have another Audible series sale purchase, and that is the Bromance book club. Now, I love this cover, for starters, and I love that this book exists. Like, the concept behind this book, I'm like, yes, bitch. Yes, do it. This is about this guy who's having a lot of troubles with his marriage, and he basically finds out that his wife has been faking her orgasms like the entire time. And you know, he's a man and he's like so self-conscious about it. He's like, you lied to me and I'm not that great at sex or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And it's like everything's falling apart. She wants a divorce, and his friends, because he's like a big baseball player. I could be wrong about that. I think he's a baseball player. Anyway, his team comes to him and are like, okay, you have to be initiated into this group. And he's like, the fuck are you talking about? And it's a book club where they read like historical romances to learn how to better treat their wives and girlfriends. I love that. There's so much talk of toxic masculinity and how like it just takes away joy from men because they call it like a female thing or a woman thing or a girl thing. Like, there's talk about like pumpkin spice lattes, like there's a whole kit and caboodle. It's fun, it's fresh. Like, they have painted nails at one point. We love to see it. Now, I will say, I liked it. I didn't love it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was a good time. I thought it was a good time. You know, it's not a book that I'm going to be like thinking about the characters, even though like I do kind of remember them, but like, I do remember them. Part of me wants to give it 4 stars, but then I'm like, no. It's good, but it's not great. So 3.5 stars. A book that I had DNF'd and then unhauled like 2 months ago, but then I listened to the audiobook, is Dancing at the Pity Party. This is a graphic novel. So you'd think like, why would you listen to a graphic novel? Here's the thing. Whenever I was physically reading it, I was so bored, and like so many of the pages have no writing, and it's just like a list, basically. So it's about this girl whose mother passes away when she's quite young, or when she, well, not quite young, she's like at college, and it ruins her, and she is just dissolving in grief and like trying to climb out of it. And she's very, very close with her mom. And it's a book about, it's a graphic novel about her going through that process. But it would be like lists of like yoga poses for grief, or like things that I remember about my mom or something like that. And it would just go on and on. And for me, I just couldn't connect to that. I didn't like that. So I was like, never mind, bye. But then I started listening to the audiobook, and I liked the audiobook. I was like, this is engaging. We're skipping all of the nonsense. I mean, not nonsense. I'm sorry. Other people really love this book. But for me, you know, I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It was sad. It was touching. I think that it will mean a lot for people. So I liked it. And then I have a couple graphic novels that Marisol and Rebecca sent to me, which are 2 of my like absolute favorite patrons on Patreon. Like, so incredibly sweet. And they just know me so well. Like, it's kind of crazy. So they got me The Prince and the Dressmaker. I read it like that day. When they sent it to me, I read it that day. I freaking loved it. Okay, this I gave 5 stars. I loved it. I loved it. Everybody does, obviously. Don't you love this coloring? Like, god damn, this is so cute. And the art style is just so cute. And so cute, it's precious. I loved them. I loved them. So cute. If I wasn't wearing lipstick, I would kiss you on your face. It's so cute. Look at that. Okay, what's this book about? If you don't know. This is about a girl. She is a dressmaker, and she is like told to make a dress for this girl that's going to a ball for the prince. And Prince Sebastian. Okay. And she does, but the girl asks her to make something audacious, like something vile, crazy. And she does exactly what the girl wants, but then she is like fired because she didn't do like what the dressmaker wanted, or like what the prince should have wanted, you know what I'm saying? But then this random guy comes and is like, oh, you're getting fired? Perfect. I'll take you. I want you to come work for the prince. And she's like, what? She goes to the prince in secret. And the prince is like, I want you to make me gowns, because out of the public eye, he loves to cross-dress, and he uses his mother's old gowns, like he steals them and wears them, and nobody can know about it, but like he wants to be this person. And he was like, you have an eye, you have a talent. I want you to make me beautiful dresses. And she's like, okay, shit, let's go. And it's them like, she's too good at it, okay? Because they go into the underground like at night in London, and he gets noticed and he becomes a fashion icon, but nobody knows who it is. And then she's like, okay, well, I'm famous. Like the stuff I'm making for him, I'm famous, but I can't be famous because everybody knows I work for you. It's so good. This book is so good. Let's talk about like literally the parents. This is so, listen, it's 5 stars. It's worth your time. It's so good. And the other graphic novel they sent me is Squad by Maggie Tokuda Hall and Lisa Sturl. This, I was incredibly shocked by this. This is what I mean when I'm like, damn, they just know me better than I know myself. I've never heard of this. Went to look it up. Nobody I know has read it. I did not pay enough attention to the cover to know what it was about. I just started in thinking like, oh, okay, like, well, blah, blah, blah. And I fucking loved it. I gave this 5 stars. I loved this. This was a ride. This was a trip because I didn't know what was going to happen. Like, I'm going to tell you because you can obviously tell from the front cover, but this girl starts at this new school and she's in the bathroom, the girls' bathroom, and somebody asks for a tampon and she's like, oh yeah, sure, and gives her a tampon. And basically like these 2 girls kind of connect like in that female way of like, oh, you understand, like, you know, and like doesn't want her to feel embarrassed about it and everything. And that girl turns out to be like the most, turns out to be like the most popular girl in the school, and she has this clique, and she's like, come and join us. And everybody's like, oh my God, is she like one of the popular girls now? Okay, so they're like buying her clothes, like come over to my house, sis, like pulling her into their clique. But it turns out, let me show you. This is where I'm like, how the fuck did I not know this? It turns out, where's a good photo? They're werewolves. How did I not know that based on the cover? Because I'm a freaking dumbass. They are werewolves, and they find men once a month that are vile and grotesque, or boys, and they murder them together. And they want her to join. I can't make this shit up. I could never make this shit up. Like, this is amazing. Also, it's so gay. It's so beautifully gay. This book is gay in the best way. It's fantastic. It's funny. It's good. I loved it. And then I so happily got a LR, a LARC. What am I talking about? An ALC, an advanced listener copy, Katie. This took you a very long time to figure that out. We're gonna keep it in because LARC is a funny word. Okay, I got a ALC of Book Lovers by Emily Henry by Libro, who is my boo. And this was one of my most anticipated books of the year. And nobody's gonna be surprised because I am like the 15th person to say this, but this was a big disappointment. This is a big disappointment. I gave this 2.5 stars because you really had me in the first half. You really had me in like the first 68%. And then everything went off the rails. Okay, this is about our main character, Nora, who I love that name, love it. It's Nora and Charlie, I think, yeah. So Nora is a literary agent. They're both literary agents, I believe. I was confused because they did like kind of the same job, but then they also didn't. I think like he was more of an editor. Anyway, they're both literary agents, and it's not, I guess it's supposed to be like enemies to lovers, but it isn't because they just met one time and had like a not so great interaction, but it's not like they hate each other. They just saw each other like one time, and that's literally it. Anyway, she has a very, very intense relationship with her sister because their mother had passed away, but she passed away a long time ago. So even though I did like the relationship between them, it was like a little much, like a little too much. Like she was really, Nora's crutch was, her toxic trait was acting like she had to take care of her sister. No, she didn't. Her sister was totally fine. Anyway, she is going to a trip with her sister, and they have this bucket list of things to get Nora out of her bubble. And one of them is like to go on or to get a guy's number or something. And she ends up seeing Charlie, and whatever, there's kind of this romance going on. But when I tell you in the first half of this book, that banter, bitch, it's so good. So good. So good. I loved it. And then about halfway through the book, it is no longer a romance. When I say Charlie is like barely on page, he just like kind of backburners. It's all about her and her sister. And if you had told me this was women's literary fiction, I would not be confused. But this is a romance? I think not. I don't think so. Emily Henry, you have done really well for me so far, and I will continue to read your books, but I think you misunderstood the assignment. Spy Family Volume 7 by Tetsuya Endo. I love this cover so much. My little baby boy, Damien. Like, I'm obsessed with him. Now, I will say, I gave this one 4 stars because, again, literally anytime Yuri is mentioned, I want to peel my skin off. I fucking hate him. And he's just in way too much of this book. Like, I can't stand this guy. And when are we gonna get a volume for Sylvia? When is it gonna happen? Because I've seen the next cover, and it ain't her, it's the boring side character, the boring friend agent. I don't care. I want Sylvia. Sylvia's mysterious. Sylvia has a crazy backstory. I just need a little bit more Sylvia. That's all I'm saying. And she's super hot. Love her. Why am I talking about it? That's not even what this book is about. I mean, she's in it, but I'm not going to go on. I'm not going to tell you what this is about because it's the 7th one. You've heard me talk about it 6 other times. But I am so obsessed with these two's relationship, Anya and Damien. Like, I love it. And then I listened to the audiobook for Ring Shout, and I love this cover so much. And shockingly, I did not know what this book was about going into it. But obviously, based on the cover, you're getting KKK vibes. You're getting white supremacy vibes, you know? And you're not wrong. But what you might be wrong about is how fucking weird this book is. It is so weird. I did not know what was going to happen. So when this magical shit started going down, I was like, oh, is this her imagination? What's happening? But if you look at the summary, no, it tells you everything. So we're following this girl who is basically like this well-trained like black warrior. So this takes place in Stone Mountain, which is not that far away from me, in which a lot of KKK rallies and meetings and whatnot have gone on, even as of recently, because humanity. Anyway, we're basically, what it is that there's hate, like there's racism, there's all these things. But when the hate gets so extreme, it will like transform these people into KKK, which are like monsters, like actual beasts, monsters. And they kill black people. Like they just survive on hate. And this like black warrior and the other black warriors are going and hunting the people that are hunting them, or the things that are hunting them, these KKK monsters. And I was blown away. Like literally when this dude turned into a beast, I was like, oh, what the fuck? But listen, the reading experience was amazing. I gave it 5 stars. I fucking loved it. When I tell you that I dead ass, just an hour ago, I stopped filming, I went and laid on my bed, and for an hour I read Suits fanfiction. I had to stop the video because I was like, I want to go read fanfiction. For an hour! That's all I've been doing today. When I tell you for the past like 3 weeks, that's all I've been doing, because Donna and Harvey from Suits is everything to me. And if anybody, please God, hear me, hear my call. If anybody has a book or a movie or a series, I don't give a shit. But if anybody has a book, series, anything that is like that relationship, and it doesn't need to be the main characters. It can be side characters. I don't care. If it's the longest burn of all time, I don't care. But if you have anything that like resembles that trope, please bestow it on me. Please. Like, I need it. I'm literally obsessed. Okay, sorry. This is not a video about Suits, but my life is about Suits. So you're getting that. Okay, anyway, the next book, let's get back into this wrap up. I read The Hacienda by Isabel Canas, okay? I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is a book where I'm trying to struggle to remember if I rated it on Goodreads or not. If I did, I gave it a 3.5 stars. And the reason I didn't want to rate it was because I don't think that I was like thinking properly, because I read this book, and while I know that it's good, like I know this book is good, I would definitely recommend it to people. If you like Mexican Gothic, this is like more than Mexican Gothic. You're getting like more of like the haunting and like witchcraft and like that cultural element. Like it's just Mexican Gothic, but better, in my opinion. And a lot more happens. Like there's a lot more thrills and chills, you know. But for me, in the moment when I was reading it, I just was not finding myself like connecting to the story and to the characters. And that's probably me. That's probably just me. Like maybe it wasn't the right time to read it. But I will say that no matter what, I wasn't going to give this book 4.5 or 5 stars, because the relationship between the priest and the girl, like I was like, am I supposed to be digging this? Am I supposed to be digging it? Because I'm not. And if I'm not supposed to be digging it, why is it in the story? Also, the ending. Like, I get that it's realistic, but like, it was unsatisfying. Yet another book club pick. This one for the Smut Salon, which, you know, if you didn't know, now you know. It's my book club. Notes on an execution. I know we kind of shit the bed with Curse Bunny, but boy, we were no Amber Heard for this. This one was Johnny Depp. This is Johnny Depp. This is his redemption arc. Notes on an Execution by Danya Kakafka, who, by the way, is an absolute baddie. Let me show you. She looks like she's like 21 years old, and the only other book she's written was 5 years ago, and I was like, did you write the book when you were like 7 years old? I'm confused. But this book here, this lovely book. Okay, I read it twice. I listened to the audio. Well, I read some of it physically, then I listened to the audio. And the second time I was following along with the book completely while I was listening to the book, like not even a single page did I just like walk away. I was like, no, I have to be here. I'm annotating. So this is a book about, I mean, the plot is that there is a serial killer, this man, who's on death row, and you meet him 12 hours before he's going to be executed. And you're ticking down the timeline of 12 hours until the last minute. But you're also following 3 women that have been affected by him. You're following a girl that he was, well, I don't want to say that. I'm not going to say that. That's a spoiler. Okay, anyway, we're following 3 women. We're following his wife's twin sister. We're following, oh my God, I don't want to spoil anything. We're following a detective who's looking into his case. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, we're following the women that have been affected by him. That's what I'll say. And it is such an amazing look at like the people who actually matter when it comes to a serial killer, because I know that I do it. I definitely do it. I know that almost every other woman I've ever met does it, which is like we, what's the word? Memorialize? What is the word I'm looking for? Like we celebritize? That's not the word. Whatever. Serial killers and like the psychosis of aggressive men, instead of focusing on the victims and actually caring about like who they were as people, especially women, and like caring that they had lives. We just care about why this man did it and how he got away with it. So in this book, we're following them and also him, and you're kind of like, the thing this author does so well is that she doesn't try to skew your vision and your opinion on these women, on the situations, on this man. Like you are there to gather your own thoughts and opinions, and I really love and admire this book for that. And there's so many just like beautiful moments. Like I didn't put a thing to say what the tabs meant. I know that one of the tabs was for writing, and one of them was for sad moments, in which there was a lot, and one of them was for plot and other. I don't remember what the other one was for. I need to make an index because I definitely tabbed the shit out of this book. But yeah, I'm gonna go into full thoughts on the live show that I'm doing on Tuesday with Gabby and Grace over on my Patreon. So if you want to join, I can't wait to know what they thought about it, because both of them have been so tight-lipped. They have not said a damn word. So I'm pumped. And if you want to know, then you can know on Patreon. I tried to pick up The Book of Night by Holly Black. I like this cover, but I did not like this book. I did not like it. I DNF'd it so fast. I want to say I DNF'd it at like page 75, and that was enough. Like if you're telling me like you didn't get far enough into the book, yes, I did. This book is bad. This book is so bad. It's so bad. I did not give a single shit. Like, you're trying to tell me this book is adult? This was like the most YA thing I've ever read. Like, this was shockingly YA, like in the bad kind of YA. I'm like, just because she's a bartender doesn't mean she acts like an adult. No. And also, I did not like the way that like, so magic exists in this world, but then for some reason, the main character like shits on tarot cards and like astrology and all of that. Like, just like, that's so fake. And I'm like, bitch, you literally out here doing magic. Pot? Kettle? Who? What? I don't know. DNF'd it. Do not recommend. Like, I do not recommend this book. Here's another, I need somebody to explain it to me, and I'm being totally serious. Like, I want somebody, as many of you as you want in the comments, to like let me know what I'm missing. But I listened to November 9 by Colleen Hoover, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 stars. Like I was toying with giving it 4 stars. Honestly, I liked it. But apparently this is a book that like people gave it 5 stars a while. Like I know that Gabby had given it 5 stars, and then when she reread it, gave it 2 stars. And I'm like, why? And honestly, I'm gonna have to message Gabby and see if she read the updated one, because that's what I've heard, is that apparently like the guy was like super aggressive, and it was kind of like domestic abuse, like a little bit, or domestic violence. But then when she rewrote it, she like rewrote all those parts. So maybe that's what I read, and that's what I'm confused about, because I didn't see a problem with the book. Like I really didn't see any problem with it. I liked it. It's supposed to be about these 2 people where they meet on November 9, obviously, and this girl has a, not facial deformity, but like, so she was in a fire, and now she has like scars like all across the half of her face and on her body, and she's very self-conscious about that, obviously. And she's having a conversation with her dad, and her dad's basically like telling her that she's ugly. And this guy comes up and is like, oh, hey babe, like pretending to be her boyfriend, to show her dad that like somebody thinks that she's beautiful, and basically tells her dad like, you're a piece of shit, by the way. And then she's about to move to New York City, and she's like, I don't want something tying me down to this town. I don't want anybody holding me back. I'm trying to become like an artist and all this stuff, this actor. And he's like, okay, well, how about we meet every November 9th? We will meet like in New York City, or we'll meet here. We'll do something. We'll meet each other, and we'll spend one day together for the next 5 years. And then I think it's like until they turn 23, because she's got this weird thing with turning 23. But it's like, we'll meet every year until we turn 23, and then we'll just see what happens. And I liked it. I'm seriously asking, like, what's wrong with this book? I don't understand. I thought it was good. On a opposite note, I read Flock, but I believe it was from Kate Stewart. And when I tell you that I am a fool, I am a fool. So I bought this on the Audible series sale, as I keep saying. I bought it, and I just recognized the cover, okay? And it's got good ratings. I should have known from the title that this was going to be an orgy. I should have known that. Did not cross my brain. As an asexual, apparently I just miss these things. I don't know. Did not know that. But when I tell you that all of the characters had names of people that I work with, disturbing to say the least, but kind of iconic. I'm like, how does that occur? Like, that's a little creepy. I literally went up to one of the bartenders and I was like, I found your fan fiction and I'm outing you. I'm exposing you. Because he was the only person that the name wasn't in it. And I was like, also, if you hear the tinkling going by, there's a guy like selling ice cream or something out there. Anyway, I'm sure you hear it in like every goddamn video because he's on his hustle. He's on his grind, you know? But anyway, I read this book and it was terrible. This book is terrible. It's terrible. This is, when I was talking about toxicity and romances, this is on site. On motherfucking site. This girl should have called the motherfucking police. She should have called, I don't know, any day. It was bad. So basically, it's this girl, Cecilia, who is going to work for her father's company. And there's a bunch of like, you know, rich up there dudes that work. Oh my God, seriously, bro. Why do you just like stand right outside my apartment to sell popsicles? Like, I'm not gonna buy a popsicle. You think I should just put a sign that says I have diabetes? Okay, he's a little bit farther away now. Anyway, what I was saying. There's all these dudes that work for her company. And she meets a guy named Sean, and he's all nice and sweet, and he's like, oh, like, you're gonna come with me to my party. But then she meets this guy named Tyler, and he's bad. He's the bad boy. And this guy named Dominic, and like this girl Layla, and girl Christy. Cool, got it, bet. Okay. But then it's like an orgy with them, but it's like so toxic. And I do not like the girl being like, oh yeah, y'all can all fuck me, but you can't fuck anybody else. I'm like, girl, you're 18. Sit down. You ain't that hot. You ain't that bitch. You are not that bitch. You are not that bitch. You are not. But also, this man, Sean, he's like a sexy hippie mentality, I guess. And he's like, oh, I don't like work for the man. Like, I don't work for the clock. And he takes her Apple Watch, her new Apple Watch, throws it on the ground and crushes it with his boot and is like, I just saved you from looking at the clock. When I tell you, my knee would have been between this man's legs. When I tell you, I would have been crushing this man's balls and then calling the police on myself to restrain me. The fuck? She goes on a date with this man after that. No, absolutely not. This book was fucking terrible. And for the last book that I finished, The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchison. I need to look up, is this a man or a woman? Dot sounds like a woman. This is written by a woman? God bless America. Oh my God, that's amazing. Thank God. This makes it so much better that it was written by a woman. Has she written anything else? Hamlet? No. No way. Did she write Hamlet? Girl, I'm getting confused. Oh my God, she has her Tumblr on here. There's honking, there's roaring going on up there. Anyway, this book, this is another one where somebody sent it to me in the mail. I did not read the summary, and I can't remember who sent it to me in the mail, but like they know me better than myself because this is yet another book that I bought on the series sale. How is it a series? I truly don't understand. It's like I don't want to continue with it because I want this to be a standalone, but part of me is like, what's the second book about? Anyway, this book is stunning. I'm so glad I didn't know anything about it going in because I was like, what the fuck is going on? And it's so short. I want this to be made into a movie, but also like the movie would be so creepy. So creepy. Okay, this is about, you're following, so you're through the perspective of these detectives who are questioning a 18-year-old girl who had been being held captive at this place called the Butterfly Garden by the Gardener is what they call him, and along with a bunch of other girls around the same age. Okay, whoever you're honking at isn't getting the picture. So just like stop. Maybe get out of your car and yell at them so at least I can hear what's going on and I can get the tea. Because the honking isn't giving me the tea. Okay, anyway. Hi, following this girl, and basically what is going on is this really rich guy has been kidnapping these girls between 16 to like 20 years old, and that he thinks is really beautiful. He kidnaps them, and in his mind, like he genuinely loves them, but he's kidnapping them and being like, I'll give you anything you want, but you can't leave. And he wants them to have friends, so he gets like a bunch of them and puts them all in this like cage, basically. This beautiful cage, and I kind of want to just tell you everything, but I can't. but he tattoos like giant butterfly wings on their backs, and each of them is a different butterfly, and then he renames them. And it, okay, oh my God, I want to tell you everything. I want to tell you everything that happens, but I don't want to because I want you to read it. Read this book. It's horrific. It is horrifying. Like, it is so creepy. So like, go into it knowing that like, it's not like, oh my God, it's gonna scare you, but it's gonna unsettle you. Like, it's a horror, and I gave it 5 fucking stars. I absolutely ate this book up. I ate it up. I could not stop talking about it at work because I'd started it before I went to work. And then when I was at work, all I wanted to do was finish this book. Like, I wanted to know what was gonna happen. I fucking loved it, and I gave it 5 stars. So those are gonna be all of the books that I read for the month of May. I did not think I was gonna have as successful of a reading month as I ended up having. I mean, 26 books is like pretty fucking amazing. Like, that's a lot. But if you want to follow me on Patreon, the link is down below. If you want to follow me on Goodreads or Instagram, all of those links obviously are going to be down below. And I want you to tell me something that you want me to read for the month of June, which is my birthday, and it's also Pride Month. So leave that down below. I will have a dedicated video of you to vote for those books coming out in a couple days. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you've gotten this far into the video, leave the bunny emoji. Leave the bunny emoji, like the full bunny emoji, not just the head. You have to be specific. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having an amazing day, evening, night, dusk, dawn, whatever it is you're having right now. And I will see you in a video coming very soon. Bye.